What's up, guys? It's Captain Daniel Kim. In today's video, I'm talking about how the new TV show, Beef, great show by the way, guys, has taught me about what is a role, or more of like what is the role of an Asian man in today's society, right? Or I guess you could say, what can we learn about dating or game or how to be a man from that show, right? So I remember one of my friends recommended the show and I started watching it. The first episode hooked me right away because the main character is first my name, Daniel, whatever, right? But he's an Asian man. And if you guys are watching that show and you're Asian, you'll understand what he's going through, right? Basically, I'm not going to give you guys spoilers, but if you watch it, you see that, Danny's trying to provide for his family. He's the oldest in the family, and he wants to be the guy who provides and protects his family. And you see a scene where his parents are in Korea, they're struggling. His brother's kind of like, a loser. He's like a shitbag, and he needs to be the one taking care of the family. And you watch the whole show, and you actually see two dichotomies. So the female, it's a show created by Asian, and you see the female girl. So the female is a very interesting character too, where she pretty much is the ideal feminist girl, right? She is the breadwinner. She's very successful, and her husband is a stay-at-home dad, and she's the one who's really did well in her career. And you see two sides of it, and I guess you could say the show called Beef happens between both of them, because one is at a different point in her life where you think she's successful, she's truly happy, and you see Daniel, who's kind of struggling, and he's trying to really make it. He's really trying to become, the most, he's trying to become the man he wants to be, right? He's working towards it, but it's really not working. So the girl has kind of achieved everything she wanted, or she's about to, and Daniel's still like working his way up. And you just see both of their storylines, but I want to talk more about the male storyline because that's the one I relate to. So Daniel's at a point where, he had everything at one point, and he loses everything. He's kind of at a place where right now he's like nothing's going right in his life. It's kind of depressing in the beginning for sure, because you see what he's going through. But I guarantee you that you guys all went through it. It's like pretty much he has all this responsibility on his shoulders, and he was willing to take that responsibility. So what's admiring about Daniel in the show is that he actually takes on that responsibility. Like, okay, I want to be the man who takes care of my family. So he actually like goes for it, right? He's like, I'm gonna take care of my family. I'm gonna be the man of the house. So he works hard. He takes any job, and he does it. But he's not rewarded for it, right? He's struggling. Society feels like society's against him. He doesn't have any girls around him. The girl that he did date is dating some other guy, and she's married and has kids, right? The one that got away. So you just see his life, and you're like, he actually wants to be a better man. Like, he actually wants to make money. He wants to take care of his mom and dad, but it's just nothing is going right. And then you see on the other side his cousin, who's actually doing, I guess you could say, more financially well. He's doing stuff illegal, and he's like kind of like a bad guy. He's not a good guy. But Daniel actually has ethics, and he is a good guy. And you see the whole transition where like stuff happens, and he kind of loses himself and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So the whole point of the show, what I want to tell you guys, what you can learn as an Asian guy watching the show, is that in today's world, I think being a honest, successful, fulfilled, attractive man is very, very hard. What do I mean by that? So when you watch the show, you're like, man, Danny's kind of like doing everything right. Like, he's kind of just a good, nice guy. Like, he's just a nice, good guy. And the world doesn't care. They just throw dirt on him. He's like, we don't care if you're a nice guy. Like, we don't care. And you could kind of see his cousin being more like an alpha, but he's more of an asshole. And you can see that he's getting rewarded, and the cousin doesn't give a shit, right? The cousin just treats everyone like shit. He kind of like lies, he cheats, he does dirty stuff to make his money. And you see Daniel, who's kind of like the nicer guy, and he gets, kind of like shitted on for it. The world shits on him for it. So I was kind of trying to think, is that how the world is? Is in today's world, can nice guys always finish last, right? Like a guy like Danny, like he's not, you don't see him as a simp, because he doesn't really simp over girls. It doesn't seem like he really cares about girls. Actually, yeah, he does. He actually, there's a scene in the bar with his brother kind of gets the girls and he doesn't. And, his brother's in better shape than him, his brother's younger and all this stuff. And I just see the show and I realize how hard it is for a normal guy to be attractive, to be alpha in today's modern world. And it is. It's just purely hard because like the world doesn't care about your feelings. Women, beautiful women, doesn't care that you are trying hard in your life, right? They only care about results. Like if a woman's not going to look at you and be like, oh, you have potential to make a lot of money, but if you can't buy her dinner, a nice dinner, or take her out, she's not going to care. She's not going to give you a second chance. And you know what? We shouldn't expect them to. And like even the family you see in the movie where like, you know, the mother and the father are disappointed because he brings up the expectations. He says he's going to buy them a house and something happens and they don't get the house and they just crap on him. And even his brother craps on him, right? Like, you're just full of shit. You're so fake. And it's just like Daniel's going through so much, right? And nobody cares until he actually produces results, until he actually makes money, until he actually becomes better, until he actually like becomes a leader. No one cares about him. No one cares about his feelings. Everyone just talks shit, you know, and just like, you know, does nothing about it. Like, they don't really care. They're like, no one wants to listen to his complaints. No one wants to listen to. And, you know, like, it's funny because in the show he has that beef with the girl. It's like they're both in the same place. They're just both struggling. And no one really cares about Daniel. Like, he really has to go through the grind. And I think that's what men have to accept in today's world. In today's world, if you want to become alpha, if you want to live a good life, if you want to be 1%, if you want to attract beautiful girls, if you want to have the money, you want to have a nice body, you want to have good game, like, you got to work for it. It's just how it is. And you can't complain about the hard work. Like, I feel like we're losing sight that all this good stuff that we want, all these rewards in life, all these positive things, all the beautiful women, the nice cars, the nice money, the nice house, the being the alpha of the family, being taking care of our parents, you know, all the things that we want, everything we want in life, we can't just wish for it. We can't just be like, oh, hey, can I win the lottery? Hey, I'm going to use the law of attraction. I'm going to go woo-woo. I'm going to be like, woo. I'm going to use the law of attraction. I'm going to believe. I'm going to act as if. I'm going to be emotional. All this blah, blah bullshit that we hear in LA, or all this woo-woo stuff, if you act to achieve and all stuff. Like, there's a recent fight, Adesanya talked about it, right? You still have to believe, but no one believed in Adesanya was going to win the fight until he actually won the fight. Because if he did all this affirmation stuff, and Adesanya's an MMA fighter recently where he won a huge fight, right? He basically reclaimed his title after losing about two fights. I got knocked out once. He got knocked out twice, and I think he got lost the other one. So he lost 3 fights to this guy, and he finally beat him. But if Adesanya won, he won't be revered as he is right now. That's what I'm saying. I feel like you as men, who's ever watching this, if you're an Asian guy watching this, we just gotta step up, guys. Like, real talk. Like, even me, right? I was actually kind of overweight the past 2 weeks because I don't know, I was going through some stuff. I wasn't feeling that good, and like, no one cares that I gained weight. All they care is that, like, yo, you got fatter. Like, no one cares that you feel confident. No one cares that you have no money. Like, even when I had $200 in my bank account, nobody cared. They only care what you could do for them, right? The girls didn't care that I had $200 and I was working hard to make money again. They only care is like, hey, can you pay for my dinner? Hey, can you think? And I'm not trying to be savage about it. I really am not. But like, then, you know, maybe these people don't care about you. It's the thing is, you guys can't be bitter against the world. Like, there is no benefit against being bitter against your parents, because let's say they don't you don't feel loved them by now because they criticize you all the time. Or let's say the woman who rejected you at the bar, you can't get bitter at them because they are also looking out for themselves. Why would they date a loser like you? Like, I can say that because I used to be a loser, right? Like, I was at a point in my life where, you know, I try to like question, woe is me? Why are those guys getting all the girls? Why is that guy getting rich? Why is that guy jacked and all that stuff? But now that I'm slowly getting some of the things that I want, I realize, like, nobody cares about your journey except for you. You have to genuinely care about the hard work and journey only for yourself, because the show was a good example. Like, nobody cared about Danny. Like, he's struggling, he's about to kill himself, but all they do is talk shit, and, you know, like, they're just like, dude, who cares? Be a man. Like, no one claps for him and be like, oh yeah, you're such a good son for trying your best, right? You're such a cool guy for trying your best, right? You're working towards it. You're better than the guy who's sitting on his couch. Yeah, he is. He's better than the guy sitting on the couch. But guys, in this modern society now, you can't just be trying. You actually have to do. You actually have to be. You can't just talk about being a millionaire. You actually have to be a millionaire. You can't just talk about, hey, I am going to the gym every day. Hey, I am working out every day. Hey, I am eating healthier. No, but if you're still fat, if you're still overweight, like, nobody cares. Like, they're just gonna be like, oh, okay, good for you. Oh, we're so happy that you're doing this. Oh, but like, no one cares until you actually do have the 6-pack abs. Nobody cares until you actually have the $1 million, right? It's just, I just realized that, like, because the show was such a good example of a guy who's working so hard, and I felt his pain. I was like, man, I actually cried at moments because I'm like, this guy's working so hard to become an alpha man. He's become so hard, but nobody cares about the journey except him. He's the only one who's grinding through it. And in the end, you know, he kind of like sacrifices his moral values and stuff like that. But like, you know, no one cares about your moral values. Like it's crazy, right? Because we know some rich people. I know some friends who became rich doing dirty stuff, right? Maybe drug dealing and dirty stuff, but nobody cares. They only care. I remember this one girl actually said she loved this guy and he's such a good guy, but he basically did some kind of Bitcoin Forex stuff and he ran away from the States and now he's like living in the States, and he's pretty much living off scamming people's money. Or there's another guy I remember in Pattaya. He was in Thailand. He basically lied to the government about a medical disability, and now he gets paid a monthly. He sued the government, right? So he doesn't work for his money. He pretty much gets paid by the government for like a medical fee. But it was like he cheated the system a little bit and makes money, a lot of money. And the thing is, like, you guys can't hate on that though, right? Like, I kind of hated on that. I was like, are you serious? Like, you think he's a good guy when he scammed people out of money? One guy doesn't work and he just makes money from the government, and you think he's a good, awesome guy? Yeah, because the guy's paying for it. The guy's providing for it. The guy's giving her an apartment. The guy's doing everything nice. He's renting out nice cars and all that stuff. So what I realized about in today's society, no one cares about your moral values. No one cares about morality. No one cares about if you're a good guy or not. They care about results. But this is where you guys got to be careful, right? This is where you have to be careful, because you see Danny in the show lose himself, right? He's a good guy, but now he goes to the dark side. And if you see the show, he kind of becomes somewhat successful, but then he loses his true fulfillment, because there's a moment when like the two characters ask each other, are you fulfilled? Right? Because he says, at one point he's like, I'm trying to the girl characters, I'm trying to get to where you're at. Is it fulfilling? But then you see the girl who achieved all her stuff, but she sacrificed all her moral values. She actually wants to be a good mother, but she, you know, like doesn't get to spend time with her daughter. She's not fulfilled, and she goes crazy. So you kind of hear this, like, you see the dichotomy of success, right? Like, I know right now in this world we look at certain characters, right? There's Andrew Tate, there's all these Red Pill community guys who are very successful, Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever. You see them live this crazy life, but you don't know what they did to get there. Only they know, right? So what I'm saying is, like, God, in the end, you need to sit down and really figure out who are you and who do you want to be and what you value, right? Because for me, I want money. I want to be rich. But just because I'm rich doesn't mean that when I meet a very beautiful woman, I'm going to support her spending a lot of money just to get her. That is one way I could do it, but I'm not going to do that. That's just, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't want a girl to know that she likes me because I use a lot of money on her, right? That's just not me. But there's guys who do that, and they're okay with that. And I shouldn't judge that guy for doing that, because he uses money, he uses resources. For me, there's other ways to do it, right? So I'm going to go that. It might be a different way. It might take longer, whatever. So what I'm saying is, I think from this show, what I learned is, first be clear on who you are. What are your values, right? And if like, I'm not saying that you have to let go of your values to be rich, because I do think there's other ways to be rich, and rich is also a general term, right? What is your definition of rich? So I was trying to figure out all this stuff of like, do you have to be an asshole? Do you have to be like this? Do you have to talk shit about women? Do you have to be like very, like, you know, cold? Or how you see some of these guys on YouTube? Or do you have to have abs like me to be whatever? No, I think it's all balanced, right? I think for me, having abs makes me feel confident. Having abs makes me feel alpha, so I do it, right? If it didn't make me feel alpha, I wouldn't put in the hard work. So what I'm saying is, guys, like, I think in the end, you can't just try. You have to be, right? So if you want to be like Andrew Tate, be like Andrew Tate. Like, don't just like think you're gonna be like actually be him and see how it feels like. So my whole goal from this show that I realized is, I want to be an attractive man, but I want to be attractive me, right? I want to be attractive who I think I'm attractive. Like for me, I don't want to meet girls through parties, right? Like I actually want a girl who likes to work out just like I do, eat healthy, whatever. So I'd rather meet a girl who has a similar lifestyle. She's attractive like me in my lifestyle. Because yeah, it'll be nice to be intimate and have fun with beautiful girls, but if these girls always party, they always go to yachts, or they always go hook up with other billionaires also. Let's say I become a billionaire and she's not only hooking up with me, she'll hook up, she just goes to a bunch of these parties. Like, what's the point, right? Then she's just like literally a girl that I just pay for to have fun with me. So it's just like, for me, I realized I want a girl who's beautiful, but she also has similar interests and hobbies, right? To me, that's a attractive lifestyle. And I think for me, like I said, like being rich is good too, but I also want a nice body. I want to be healthy, so I don't want to drink, right? Or I want to do what I love. I want to have more time instead of using more money and having less time, right? Making more money, but I have less time, that sucks. I don't want that. So the whole point of this video today is, I think it is very hard to be an attractive alpha man in today's world, right? But it can be a lot easier if you figure out what alpha is towards you and what you want to be and go for that first. Because yeah, the world might say this is alpha, right? But maybe for you it's not alpha and you might not be happy. Maybe for you having all these muscles and keeping all these muscles is not alpha. You're like, why? That's toxic masculinity. But I love muscles, so don't call me toxic masculine for having muscles, right? Or having money. Maybe you having just 6 figures, having a nice house, and having a family is alpha, right? Don't, like, I think be careful which one. Like for me, like I have a certain lifestyle I want, right? So I'm gonna go for it. So just go for it first and then talk. And I think produce results. Like, don't just talk about stuff, right? If you want to be alpha and you think this is alpha, go get it done and then say it's not alpha. Don't be a guy who says that's beta when you haven't done it before, right? I think a lot of people call beta, alpha, simp, whatever until they've done it. Like, there's certain things, of course, simp versus alpha, but the whole point of this video is I think it's hard to be a man in today's world, an attractive man, an alpha man. But it's like, first figure out what that is and go get it done. Just get it done. That's it. Like, bar none, get it done. Produce results, because that's the whole thing the world cares about, right? Like, if you look at Andrew Tate and you're like, man, I wish I was like Andrew Tate. Go be like Andrew Tate. Don't bitch about it. Don't complain about it. Don't be like, oh, he has other situations. Oh, I can't be like that. Or when a hot girl rejects you, don't bitch that rejects you. Then go get the hot girl. Like, if she likes rich guys, become that rich guy that you could get, right? And I think that's the thing you gotta be careful about, is because we put validation on others people's acceptance of us. But the real thing is you need to figure out a way to fully accept yourself for you and be happy with you. Because I think in the show you'll realize that Daniel's truly unhappy because he wants the validation of others. He wants to feel special from other people, that he's enough. And you see him go down this downward spiral where he loses himself a little bit. And I think he could have done it a different way if he stopped looking to please others. He could have genuinely like been the best version of himself and be happy and still be alpha if he kind of went his own way about doing it, still getting the approval, like making his parents happy, but like balancing it, right? Like having what he wants but also pleasing the people he loves too. So I hope that was a very interesting video, because I feel like I wasn't to the point and really like I was kind of more like blah blah blah, but that's the point I want to make, guys. Like, it is hard to be a man, an alpha man in today's society, especially an Asian guy, but it's possible. And so stop thinking about it and just do it, and do it the way you want to do it, not what other people think should be alpha, right? And do it for yourself. So I hope that helps, guys. Captain Daniel out.